Coach, how would you characterize this season? It was a season where you guys were right there kind of the whole season, and then just couldn't get the help you needed there at the end.
Yeah, you know what? It was one of those seasons where, you know, every time you thought you had it going, something would happen where you take a step back, and I think that was indicative of the games. You know, obviously you have a consistent game, and then the next time, you know, you're missing something in that game, whether it's you know, some 5-on-5 play, power play, or penalty kill. It wouldn't be at the top of its level, and you have to do that, especially in the second half of the season when you're going to play an NCHC competition. So there was things that got away from us, and it's one of those things where now we have some time here to peel back the layers and really dive into our group, whether it's individually, whether it's team-wise, whether it's structure, and really staffing as well, to really kind of reset and look at ourselves here a little bit more.
How much do you learn from a season like this, knowing that, you know, a couple pucks bounce the opposite way, you are in the playoffs? How much can you teach your players that every shift really truly does matter?
Well, we have their attention now, and we have, you know, everybody's attention now is how, you know, slimmest of margins to get in the NCAA tournament. You know, normally 14 gets you in. This year it doesn't happen, but I think it goes back to day one as far as, you know, when you step on the ice in your first match of competition, knowing that each and every game means something, and you can't let it come down to the very end and hope for other teams to help you get into the tournament. It's one of those things you have to control what you can control, and again, we have to make sure that we do it from the outset of the season.
How tough is it as a coach to say goodbye to your 4 seniors?
Oh, very tough. It was tough getting off the bus on late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and giving them a hug, and, you know, and thanking them in front of everybody, and knowing that we're not going on the ice together again. And you know, they've poured their hearts on the ice, and I think the biggest thing is they won a national championship 2 years ago. They're going to remember that for the rest of their lives. You know, just because we didn't make the NCAA tournament, which it's the bar we get to. That's what we do every year, and we're going to get to that next year again. It didn't define them as a person their 4 years here. They did a lot of great things. They won a national tournament, national championship. They've gotten a degree in 4 years. They've got a great education from North Dakota, and you know what? They were servants of the community. They went out and they helped the community, to youth hockey players, to charities, to different things like that. So that's what we do. We get measured by banners, and we should get measured by banners, but you have to measure those guys on what kind of people they are, and they're outstanding people, all 4 of them.
Brad, talk about the level of frustration, knowing that you can play with anybody in the country, and yet you're not going to get a chance to now.
Yeah, and you know, you know, there's other programs like that too. There's Minnesota, Boston College. There's a lot of good programs that aren't in the tournament this year that you just got to get in, and you know, it's frustrating. It really is, because again, you have to put 4 games together. You have to get out of your regional, but you just put 4 games together and you win a national championship. And again, we don't have that opportunity. So it is frustrating in that regard. But I think, you know, you got to take the good with the bad. And I think the one thing is that we're going to go forward. I think it really resets you. It really. I think it makes you hungry and more focused. And again, it makes you want to come back to the point where, you know what, this isn't going to happen again, and we got to do everything in our powers to make sure that doesn't happen.
When you look at the college hockey landscape, to see some of these teams that did get into the tournament, and to see the parity that there is now, how much different is the game, maybe from even 5 or 10 years ago, where you do have these teams that are able to get in?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I go to the Mankato's now. You know, they're vying every year now within their WCHA to be in the national tournament, and you know, obviously Air Force being in there and different things like that. There's teams that are very good teams that have built their programs, and you know, I think I go to 2 different things. I think one thing, kind of the whole picture. You're seeing non-traditional areas now in hockey, of youth hockey, that are growing, and so the talent pool is much larger than it was before, where you know, the top programs would get all the kids. Well, now you can't have everybody, and there's more players, good players around that are going to other programs. The other thing is our NCHC. You know, I firmly believe our conference is one of the top, if not the top conference in the nation, and other programs are benefiting from it too. So, like I said, other programs have built their programs to where, you know, they're other top programs, and again, it's parity. That's what it is in college hockey.
You mentioned staff changes. Is there anything kind of on the horizon that you might be addressing?
No, what I meant by that, I meant by, you know, responsibilities and and structure within our game. I didn't mean about staff changes, about staff leaving programs and different things like that. It's mostly just internal here that, you know, myself included, everybody looks at themselves and what they could do better, and that's part of staff, players, and organization.
Obviously, on inside, can you kind of talk about the season he had and how much he's kind of meant to your program as well?
Yeah, you know what, Christian is, you know, he's grown over the last 3 years here. You know, he came in as a freshman into a group of top-end defensemen with, you know, Tucker Pullman and Paul Ledoux and Gage Osmus and Troy Stetcher. I mean, in a pretty good experienced group, and he learned from those guys, and, you know, and translated to his growth of development into his third year to be one of those guys, one of those top guys. And, you know, what he's done, you know, his year here, he led on the ice with his ice ability. He led with a top-end emotion, with offensive play, you know, just a guy that brought it every night. And, you know, now he has the opportunity, and I firmly believe he'll show well at the NHL level. He'll get his opportunity here, I believe, tomorrow night against Edmonton. And, you know, he has a boatload of confidence, and I think he's going to do extremely well at the next level.
Sticking with those players, obviously Gardner and Gersich still questionable to come back. How much do you play a part of their decision?
Well, you know, I think there's a lot of things that go involved into the decision process at the end of the year. There's a lot of people close in those people's worlds that help them make decisions, but at the end of the day, it comes from their heart and what they believe in as far as their experience here, and then also what they believe they can do at the next level. So we are part of that, you know, as a coaching staff, you know, and that starts not just now, it starts, you know, when they first come here to North Dakota. So again, I think there's a lot of things that go into it. I wouldn't say a lot of people are helping in that decision. It's the close people around those players, and it's something that has to make sense. And again, I think a couple guys are still going through that.
Is there any chance you guys move to Casey Johnson to forward permanently? Have you discussed that?
Well, you know, that's a great question, Brad, and I think that's all part of our discussion here going forward here in the next few weeks, as far as where we see our team. As far as positionally and what needs we have. I thought he did a tremendous job, you know, up front, and, you know, he's given us good minutes on the back end in that regard, but there was a little pop, there was a little something there up front, and we're going to really look at that. And I'll tell you what, you know, we haven't had our one-on-one meetings yet at the end of the year. That's coming down the road here, where, you know, we'll really peel back the layers with the players and really communicate with them on expectations going forward. But I know he's a team-first player, and he's a guy that will do anything for our program on and off the ice. And again, it's one of the things we will look at.
How much of the tournament will you watch?
I'd be lying to you to say I wouldn't. I'm not going to watch it, and I'll probably watch a little bit of it. And, you know, like I said, I still have pride in, you know, the teams that are in there, and it's still college hockey. And, you know, the biggest thing too is I want to see other programs. Like, you know, we know the NCH, the inside and out. I want to see other programs like Mankato. I want to see Ohio State. I want to see some of these programs and see how they've developed over on. And I think the biggest part of growth is not thinking that you do it right all the time. The other programs do it right. Things change, and you have to change. The world changes, and we have to change.
Any more questions? Your thoughts on being able to get Colton back for another year?
That was vital. That you know, I mean, there's a lot of dominoes that are still standing on edge right now, and to have that domino come back and stay upright for us is huge. He brings everything to our program: leadership, accountability, hard work, skill, and great defensive player. Like, he's a cornerstone of our group for next year. And the other guy is Nick Jones. And when you think of that, that's a huge guy to get back to. So again, you know, there's always worries about players leaving the program. Having those two guys back as being cornerstones of our program is absolutely crucial, and we're grateful for that.